Hey guys, what's good? Coming at y'all with a quick video of a watch I have actually owned for a little while now, about a month. I've waited a while to make this video because it's a watch I've really wanted. It's the Sinn U50. This is the mid-size diver from Sinn, kind of like their smaller version of their very popular, iconic, I would say, U1 diver that's been around for many years. And this is the smaller version of it, still very capable, still excellent, and like I said, a watch that I have wanted for a long time. But I did make this review after owning it for about a month now, and I kind of hesitated and delayed making this video because I think I was expecting something to happen and it really didn't. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's look at the watch. It's 41 millimeters in diameter, so it's a nice size, kind of like a classic men's size sport watch. 20 millimeter lug width. I really appreciate and love that Sinn is still doing drilled lugs. It's got a screw down case back, of course. It's 500 meters water resistant. Look how nice and thin that case is. I mean, that is awesome. It's incredible, the form factor of this watch and its specs. Of course, it has a rotating bezel. That's pretty good. Not great, but it does have a rotating bezel. Not easy to turn. Forget about it whenever your hands are wet or if you have gloves on your hand. Not realistic to turn it, but a nice bezel. It's got a lot of markings on it. And let me set the time. I thought that would be something interesting for y'all to see. So let's see. So right now it is a little past 11. And it is the 9th, and so let's see here. So let me unscrew the crown. I thought this would be interesting because one thing a lot of videos don't do, mine included, is kind of go through that process. And so let's see, it's the 9th and a little past 11 a.m. So I'm going to pull it out in one position, two positions, hack the hand, and then let's advance. Look at the hands. I mean, they're just really nice, just really well made. Such a purpose-built dial, completely legible, just instantaneous legibility. So let's see, we just clicked over to the 8th. And then we'll just skip over here one more time around. You know, the movement has not great power reserve, kind of like a standard, like, 30, 34 hour power reserve, something like that. But yeah, a good movement, just like kind of like a workhorse kind of movement, nothing special. And I appreciate Sinn hiding that from us so we don't have to look at just a blab movement. And so looking at the time, it's like I said, it's a little past, it's about 11:05, isn't it? So let's try to get there. I won't set it exactly because look at that seconds hand. I mean, it sweeps so beautifully. Anti-reflect coating, of course, and so the dial is just amazing, really three-dimensional. Crown is very solid. Let's screw it back in. Feels right, maybe a little bit small to grip and maneuver. But not bad. I mean, just, it kind of fits the watch. The watch is small enough to where they really didn't have to put the crown here at that, at that 430 position. They probably could put it here or even on the other side. But I like it. You know what I mean? I like the watch. I think it's really cool. I've switched it up a tiny bit. I have a Marathon with 20 millimeter lugs, and those have shoulderless spring bars. And so I inserted those spring bars into these drilled lugs for just maximum security. And right now I'm using it on a really nice Zulu Diver rubber strap. So this is the watch. Let's compare it to my looks like I'm wearing my Solar Diver today. So let's kind of compare the two. About the same size. Maybe the Solar Diver is a little bit larger. So it's a good size watch, you know what I mean? It's not too big, it's not too small, it's super legible. And then, on my wrist, you can kind of see it there. It feels good, the thinness makes a big difference because it's just a really nice and thin watch. Let me put this strap on here. So, all right, guys, give me a second. I'll be right back while I struggle with this strap, okay? Hey, guys, I'm back. Just finishing up getting this strap on. And then let's try this thing on the wrist and just see how good it feels. I like it on NATO. You know, it comes with a bracelet option, and it also comes with like a integrated looking rubber strap. That's a cool option too. I think I would, if I had to choose between the two, I would probably go with the rubber. But yeah, so there it is on the wrist, and it looks really cool. It comes in a lot of different versions though. You can get a black PVD bezel. You can get the whole all watch PVD. You can get it tegamented. So that's a special hardening process that companies like Sinn and Damasco use to harden their watches to make them more resistant to scratches and nicks. This is just the basic one, and so the bezel on all of them has that special hardening, but the case for this one doesn't. Prices for these are pretty stable at around $2,200, $2,500, depending upon which model you get. There's a new one, kind of like a professional version that just came out, which is a little bit more expensive. That's a limited edition. There's lots of different colors and dials and styles. You know, for my money, I like the basic one. I think the handset on this one is just iconic. It's made out of like that special Sinn submarine steel, and like I said, 500 meters water resistant is just really awesome considering how the watch wears and how it feels. It's very comfortable. Crown is okay. It's not digging into my wrist at all, so that's okay. Bezel sucks. I mean, I'll just be honest. It's not good enough. I think at the price point, and but it's a pretty common complaint against this watch. But as I was alluding to earlier, man, I have owned this for about a month, and it's really not like me to not put out a video pretty quickly. Like usually I'll own a watch for like, you know, a week, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, and then, you know, put out a video. Sometimes I'm so excited, I just do an unboxing, and I just, you know what I mean? I'm so excited about a watch. This one is just so universally loved out there, man. I mean, it is just like the reviews on this watch are just basically universally excellent. And just, I mean, having owned this for about a month now, which is like, you know, a year in, you know, watch collector time, I don't get it. You know what I mean? I get it. You know, it's a fine watch. It's like totally adequate. It's got great stats. It's got some great technology in it. It's okay, but you know, if I had to choose between this and my 556 as a one and only, I don't know. I mean, that's probably an idea for a video coming up in the near future. And that would be tough for me to say. If I had to choose between this and like a Tudor Black Bay, I don't know. I mean, that would be a tough fight, I think, for the U50. I certainly get all the adoration this watch receives. It's a cool watch, man. I mean, it's cool. It's like, it looks proper, it looks legit, but it's a lot of money, I think, for what you end up getting in this watch. Look, the 500 meters water resistant, I think, is the one ace in the hole this watch has. It's something you don't find at this price point very much, and so in that sense, you do get a lot of watch for the money. But I think more than anything, I was kind of disappointed in the build quality on this one. Not to say that it's not adequate, because it is adequate, but I don't know. I feel like Sinn is not really the value proposition maybe it used to be, like, you know, 5 years ago, you know, certainly not 10 years ago, when it was kind of like an underground brand. And I get it, like when you ramp up production of stuff, it's just hard to maintain that build quality. There's so many different kinds of Sinn models now. I really think that it really does well when it just makes simple watches. And admittedly, this is a pretty simple watch, but it just feels a little bit, I don't know, it feels solid, but it just feels a little bit ratchety on the wrist. You know what I mean? It feels a little, I don't know, it's hard to describe, put together. For me though, like I said, I mean, a lot of people just adore this watch, but there's a lot of these for sale also. So I feel like this is like one of those watches that a lot of people read reviews about, a lot of people buy them, a lot of people get them, and then after about I don't know, a month, 6 months, a year, something like, yeah, it's good, man. It's cool. It's an adequate watch, but I want something kind of a little bit different. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? That's me being honest with y'all. That's me as someone who has owned and owns a lot of watches. That's me, that's someone that has owned a lot of Sinn watches. So I think there's some big positives about the watch. I think the size is awesome. I think it's just like the correct size. A lot of people can wear it. I love the thickness as part of the size too. The movement is really blah. It needs more power reserve. It's going to be hard, I think, for Sinn to continue down this path of sourcing just basic movements with 24 to 35 hours of power reserve. It's not the right path going forward. Watches now come with 70, 80 hours of power reserve, and those are entry level watches. And I think that may be the bezel, the poor quality movement. I'm sorry, not the poor quality movement, but just the basic generic movement. I think those are things that really work well for the movement works well for the 556, but it really weirdly lets down the U50. I mean, this watch is sort of promoted as like a highly technical watch, and the case is good. The bezel is below average, but fine. The dial is awesome. It looks really cool, but man, I can live with the generic movement in the 556, but it really lets the U50 down. So, as I said before, I've owned this for a while. I've worn this for a while, and it's fine, man. It's adequate. But I had this weird sense, like every time I wore this watch, it's like, I was like, okay, I'm going to wear this watch all day long today. I just couldn't wait to get it off, man. It was a weird feeling. Like I was like, oh yeah, that was great, man. I can't wait to, put on my Seiko Solar Diver. I would rather like, you know what I mean? It's just that this to me is I was ready to put this on and, get rid of the, put the Sinn back in the watch box. Listen, that's my opinion. I mean, feel free to crucify me in the comments, but I think it's really important for people to hear the opinions of somebody that buys the watch or trades for the watch, spends their hard-earned money for the watch, and compares it to what else they have. I think that is much more useful information for y'all than somebody that just gets one given to them, owns it, or not even owns it, but just has it for 3 hours, makes a video, and then just ships it on. That's useless. I mean, that's unhelpful information, in my opinion. Guys, I hope you like this quick look at the Sinn U50. It's a good watch. I think it's a solid B, man. It's not an A+, it's not an A-, it's not a B- or a C+, it's a solid B. And I think it's fine. I'm not suggesting you pay $2,500 plus for this watch, though. Please don't do that. Prices for these continue to kind of hover in the $2,000, $1,800 range, depending upon the model. I like it at less than $2,000 or $2,000 or less. I think that's an acceptable price for this. Beyond that, I personally would be looking elsewhere. Guys, I'm rambling as always. I hope you like this quick look at a cool watch, the Sinn U50. I didn't have the same awesome experiences as other reviewers you may have seen online, but I think the difference is I actually own the watch and I've had to trade for it, and I'm comparing it to other watches I own, and therein lies the difference. Anyway, guys, love y'all. Take care. God bless. Be safe, and looking forward to making some more content soon. I probably will do a video comparing this to the 556. That'll be a cool battle to the death. Guys, take care. God bless. Bye.